Hey, Louise.
Hi. Look at this. I'm getting my own coaching call.
You should have one.
I know. You guys are very kind and generous with your time. I thank you. I'm gonna wrap something up while
You did what?
I'm gonna wrap up a quick text for an upcoming listing while we're waiting for the rest of the gang to arrive.
I'm gonna get a drink. Well, it looks like 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock somewhere. I got you as co-host there too. You see that, Louise? Good, thanks. Well, it's 1 o'clock. Welcome everyone to the Mastery of Real Estate. Denny Grimes here. It is already October 25th. You can believe that. And so I think it's time to get the Christmas decorations out. Or is that against the law until Halloween? I'm not really sure. What we're going to be practicing here is mastery level conversations and real estate physics. I'm happy to go as deep into a situation, conversation, or a scenario as you want. So I don't really have a specific thought of it today. So what's on your mind? How can we all grow together? David, I see you're up front. Susan, you're up and ready to go. Who else is ready to step in? DLG, I see you're here today.
I will.
Good. What is it?
Okay, so I had a listing. Well, I have a listing, and This is before we had that change with the commission. So my seller wanted me to double end the deal because I'm charging him the only 1% to represent the buyer. So he wanted that because he wanted to save on commission. And we got the price that he wanted, and it's based on a contingent sale of a buyer. So I don't represent the buyer for his upleg. I mean, sorry, I represent the buyer on his upleg on buying my listing, but I do not represent on him selling his properties. So he got one property sold, and now he has his primary home that he's selling, but it's still on the market. And now he's dragging us out for more than 2 months.
Okay, this reminds me of Ozarks. Kind of like how many different years and series of Ozark, right? It seems like a long, complicated story. Let me just see if I can summarize it. Maybe I didn't follow it. You have somebody who has basically bought your listing. It's contingent on selling his property.
Right.
And you're not working on the sales side, but you're working on the buyer. Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to give you my opinion on this. Well, let me ask you a question. Why would your seller consider that?
Because he wasn't getting the price he wants.
Okay, so he's going to get someone, your buyer is going to pay more. Well, the guy who's making a contingent offer, is he giving the seller a price that he wants?
Yes.
Okay, will anybody else in the market give him the price he wants?
No.
Okay, so I will tell you what's going to happen. Yes, okay, most likely, and you guys can pipe in here. This is an irrational, well, actually, one person has scratched another person's back. Buyer, and this is a question I now have, why does the buyer contingency?
Because he doesn't have the money. He was going to sell both of his properties. One is already sold. And the primary home he's trying to sell to come up with $1.4 million to buy the property that I listed for.
So he doesn't want to be homeless, right? So he's trying to nail down where he's moving while he disposes of another property.
Right.
Okay. Before I give you my opinion, anybody else want to weigh in? This is pretty cut and dried, I believe.
So my situation here is I was going to enact a per diem because we did an extension. The buyer has to, I mean, the seller has to sell no matter what. He's host, right? So he has to sell, but he doesn't want to lose that much money. So we accepted this offer, and he wanted this offer because he was getting his price. I originally asked for 1.2. That was my base. Once when I got the house staged, we got all the videos, he upped it by $200,000, and I'm like, oh my God, if it doesn't work, we're gonna have to lower the price. So we have.
Hang on. If you don't mind, let me just say the details probably don't matter much right now. I want to talk about this from about 1,000 feet. My first question, and we can all ask Susan questions to kind of triangulate this. Why, if that buyer was coming in from another agent, not you, would you have recommended your seller accept the offer?
Probably not.
Why?
Well, actually, I did recommend. So on that note, we had 2 offers at the same time. This one came in lower. There was another agent that came in with the same price offer. They are both with contingent sale. And I told him there's 2 offers, same price. What do you do? And he goes, well, Susan, you represented me. I want this offer because.
You don't need the details.
Okay.
All right. So did you answer my question? If that offer came in from another agent, would you have recommended your seller take it?
With the price that he wants,
First of all,
I don't recommend contingent offer.
All right, fine. Now we're getting somewhere. Why?
Because I don't want to be dragged out.
Forget about you. Here's the thing.
I don't want him to drag out because he is losing money.
What is the probability the seller is going to win in this situation? And the buyer is definitely not going. Anyone? I mean, y'all are pretty quiet.
I don't think that the seller is gonna win because the buyer can hold off for however long he wants.
Yes. Well, here's what's going to happen, in my opinion. The buyer needs some sort of sense of like, I need to know where I go, and there's a better way to handle it. However, as soon as that buyer sells his other property and has his money, he's going to realize he's paying more for that house than he should. And he's going to find, and if he can get the timing to work out, he's going to cancel the deal on your seller.
Yeah, I don't think the seller wins at this one at all right now. He's not in a good spot.
No, and the other thing is the buyer loses. Why? The buyer is buying an insurance policy. He's paying more for a house than it really is worth. True, Susan?
Come
on.
True. Yes, and
No.
yes.
No.
If
Okay.
you're asking a straight answer, yes.
All right.
There's
So
a lot of.
if I'm going to exercise you, I've got to get all the demons out of you at one time. Okay. So if there's only one buyer, and say if there are not multiple buyers, a couple of different people that want to buy the home, if there's only one, the chances are it's probably overpriced. So if your seller wanted to sell in a normal situation, you'd have to reposition. Yes. Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and again, no judgment. However, is there a little bit of this running in the background where, hey, listen, I can get both sides of this, even if both people lose?
Geez.
Okay, you don't have to answer that. Here's the thing. Here's what should happen. We've talked about this before, is that number one, the buyer, we've talked about, who remembers the golden seller, the golden buyer conversation? Anybody remember that? All right. So Susan, you are the buyer.
Okay.
So if you're kind of in a pickle, and does he know that he's overpaying for that house?
No, but they love it. To them, I don't think it's. Okay, so.
I don't need details. Yes or no?
I don't think they think it's an overpaid house because I saw the listing. They live in like a hoarder's house, and then this house is immaculate. The one I'm selling, it's staged properly. It's huge.
You're getting details again. I don't need that.
Yes or no?
So
yes or no?
I don't know. That's for them. No.
If it's been on the market and it's not been absorbed, that means it's overpriced. Yes or no? Why do you have to think
the reason why I say that, because I literally have a lot of showings. I have a lot, but just no offers. That was my problem.
Oh my gosh, come on now. All right, I need some holy water.
Is it overpriced?
Go ahead, Louise.
Show of hands, is it overpriced? A lot of showing. People are coming to pick the jacket up off of the rack, and as soon as they see the price tag, they're putting it down, right?
Doesn't matter what comps say, what the neighborhood says, what anything else says. If they're seeing it, nobody writes offers. It's probably overpriced.
Probably.
Susan, I don't want to move you back a grade. Okay, come on.
It is overpriced.
Okay, now that does not mean, again, we're talking about the bell-shaped curve. That doesn't mean there is an outlier buyer out there that will pay that. And so,
Right.
so this buyer might be the one, and that's okay. And again, I don't have perfect knowledge on this. However, a buyer may be willing to pay, okay, $100,000 for the convenience of having a place to go once his other property sells. And it may just be a match made in heaven. However, I just want you to know that from a physics standpoint of real estate, this is an outlier. If a buyer is willing to pay more than market value, there is an irrational reason. Well, I should say irrational. There's a reason for it. One, the buyer's not educated on the market, rare. Two, that property is 1 in a million. Its address is exactly the same address as the home they grew up in, or something like that. It's next door to their kids, or for whatever reason. It can happen, Susan. It can happen. But for everyone on here, I want you to understand the physics of it is, I guess theoretically, the environmental conditions here in South Florida, I could put water ice cube tray out in the driveway, and it's October, and we could get a cold snap and the ice could freeze in October in Florida, but it's never happened. So if this does happen, it's an irrational or it's an outlier event. Are you okay with that? So going back to your question, what is your question?
My question is, how would you guys handle this? Because I was going to enforce a per diem if we don't close at a certain time. After when we gave them an extension, and the buyer, she said, no, no, no. So I presented that to the seller now, and
Hang on, I got enough information. So how long was the contingency?
we gave them 45 days.
And so we're at 45 days?
We know more than that now.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. If you want to put pressure on the buyer and have a per diem, I would say, okay, you can do that. However, then I'm going to pretend you're the seller. Susan, this is a once in a lifetime buyer. We lose this buyer, we don't get another one. I'll stop there. Anybody have a comment? I'm doing all the talking, you're doing all the listening. Somebody pipe in here. Tell me what you're hearing, or if you believe what I'm saying.
Well, it stops the market, right? I mean, it sort of, you've got it in a contingent basis. A lot of people kind of stop looking at it. I'm in New Mexico. We have a time off market type of setup, which is like the per diem. But yeah, once you've kind of got into the contingency, you've got to come up with some way to recreate that leverage on your side to get the buyer to do something or move. I think anyway, that's what we've seen out here.
Right. I don't know if you've ever had anybody in your family like a cousin Eddie, and you wonder how did they ever find a girlfriend? Well, when they really find that girlfriend, they ought to hang on to them, because they might not ever find another one that loves cousin Eddie. Does that make sense? You get my metaphor? Here's a conversation you could have with the buyer. I'm gonna go to you, Susan. I'll make it quick, and we'll go to you, Madeline. So here we go. All right, you're the buyer.
Yeah.
Hey, the seller is, getting a little antsy, and they're thinking about maybe charging you a, the seller's having to pay taxes and all this other stuff. So they're going to charge you X number of dollars a day the more you drag this out. Would you like to discuss an alternative?
Sure. What would that be?
Okay. My first question is, if your property was sold to the right buyer that would give you enough time to live in that property so you could find another home to move into and make one move, would you buy that house at that price?
One move, yeah.
You're not at, no. That's right. I'm asking you if you had, if I could give you the money to go buy the house you want, and you could go buy a house, and then let's say your other home is sold, so you don't have to be having contingency. Somebody buys your house and lets you stay there until you find another house to buy. All right, now there's no pressure.
Right.
You could buy any house out there. Here's the question, I'm going to ask it again. Would you buy the one you have on a contingent offer on now, and would you pay that price?
Yes.
Well, then he's crazy.
The reason I say that is because I went back and forth with them over the course of all this time, and they still really want the house. They really worked hard for this particular house.
Okay.
But my question is, because I did have the conversation with them that we're gonna enforce the per diem, and they're like, we cannot pay that because we don't have any more money. So that's where I'm at. Now, the seller has to sell no matter what, and if we decide to put it back on the market, it's gonna take another 30 days. So his choice is
No,
either.
hang on.
It won't take another 30 days because they're gonna price it.
Wait a minute. Why do you say it's gonna take another 30 days?
If I put the house back on the market,
No, hang on. If you put it back on the market at the same price, it's not gonna sell again in 30 days.
Well, even if it
maybe
goes
long-
through with this one now, the buyer's house has to sell before they have the funds to purchase this one, which is probably gonna take more than 30 days.
well, the house is on the market already, and I just saw that within less than 2 weeks, they dropped their price. So hopefully to get
Well,
the
They were overpriced too, and if they will go into under contract today, it's gonna take approximately 30 days for them to close.
30 days, right? So my seller is saying that, look, initially we gave them the extension, and he said, look, if we're gonna go in and cancel this escrow and go to another one and put it back on the market, it's gonna take another 30 days to close. So his method was, why don't we stay with this one, because I may not get the price that I want. Let's stick it out. Now that we stuck it out, I have this problem because they're not closing. Where they don't even have an offer yet. So this is where
I got it. I don't know. No, that's enough. I got it.
Okay.
The buyer is asking too much for their house, and
Mhm.
your seller is asking too much for their house. This is a match made in heaven. So, and we'll go on to Natalie here in a second, but here's the thing is, I will, if I were a betting man, and you can put in the chat or raise your hand, I bet this deal never closes. Anybody take I want to say yes or no?
I
You
think,
think-
people are avoiding whatever the real issue is for the sake of nothing other than to just keep kicking the can down the road. If your seller actually wants to sell, then you have to have that conversation. And if the buyer isn't performing, then wonderful. Maybe
So-
you go in a different direction, but
The situation my seller has to sell right now. I mean, people don't put their house on the market because they feel like it, right? So he has to sell. The buyer is super interested in this house because that's they're retiring and they want this big house.
so their offer should be accepted at the end of the day. So you need to go to your seller and say, hey, look, you have a super strong offer and blah, 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 and just take a chance. But otherwise, you're just missing opportunities, and the more time, the more money they're wasting. So
Here's a
I'd give it to them straight, but Denny, sorry.
That's okay. Here's my last comment on it. I have a feeling, and there's no judgment in this, that if that wasn't your buyer, you would probably recommend that seller get out of that contract because they got to sell in 30 days, and that guy's not going to perform.
Yeah. But
And
I
I'm
also,
This is
but that was not my decision because I did tell him that to go with another buyer. I did. I told him that I do not want to represent
I
these
think
people
this
because they
is-
have two contingencies.
the time. I think he might be more receptive to a price change now than he will later. I think this is the time to have that conversation. And I do think it will close, but I don't think it's going to close at this price.
Yeah, so I think you're right, Louise. I think this is the time to have a real conversation about reducing the price and cancel this escrow and go back out.
Show him the fishing sheet, the 3 outcome sheet.
I will have spoken that already, yeah.
But let
I
me
mean,
ask
literally,
you,
my phone I have tons and tons of showings.
but here's, again, I keep saying my last comment. Natalie, you're next. This is my last comment on this deal. Just a moment ago, you were saying you were kind of defending it was priced right because you were getting tons of showings. Right?
But I want him to sell it fast, so what causes to sell it fast is price, right?
What
And so-
causes, no. What causes it to sell at all is price.
Yeah.
It's been on the market long enough where it's not selling fast.
No, so it came off the market after 20 days on the market. We were
If
on
it-
the market for only 20 days.
Okay. Natalie, I hope I didn't confuse you, Susan.
No, I think I'm good. I think I just have to work it out and talk to him.
Keep us posted on what's going on at Ozarks. Okay, all right, so Natalie,
Hey,
what are we doing?
what's that?
What do you want to do?
I keep getting this objection, when calling expireds. They
Mhm.
want to wait until after the election.
Wait a minute.
Hmm.
Wait a minute. Somebody has been snooping around. Here we go. Oh, election's only 10 days away. I want to wait.
What's that?
That's the job. I mean, I used to be 30. Now it's only 10 days. The election is only 10 days away. I want to, oh, you know what? It's not on the why. There it is. Can you see it? Oh, I'm frozen.
So could we role play that? I'll be the homeowner.
Yeah,
Yeah, Denny, you're very frozen. We can't see anything.
here we go. Hang on. There we go. All right. Who wants to role play it? Who wants to be the
I
agent?
kind of wanted to hear what you had to say.
All right, I'll do it.
The homeowner.
I'll do it second. I'll do it second. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I don't know what I'm gonna say, but let's go.
And I'll just give you what they have been giving me, which is very general.
So I'm the agent
Yes.
and you're the expired?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Okay, so this is a phone call.
Yep. And I'm like, cool, I want to wait for the election.
Well, I'll say that. Yeah, you're the agent.
Okay.
And that's my objection. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
So what do you think will happen with the election?
Well, I don't know. I just maybe the economy is going to get better. So I'm not ready to put it back on the market yet. I just kind of want to wait.
Okay, and if things get worse, will that affect your situation?
I don't think they can get any worse than what they already are.
Okay, so you're waiting for the election. You think things may get better. Again, we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. Is there any other reason you're waiting?
No, that's it. I think it's gonna help with the buyers being more I'm trying to think because they never gave me like a specific. It was just more of like waiting for the election, and then at the same time, buyers are not.
See, that's a great observation, Natalie. That's a great observation. So, Whitney, for example, I would dig into wait until when? The day after the election? What are you waiting to see, or what are you hoping will change? She's already answered a question. You know which way you know who she's rooting for in the election. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah. She said that things can't get any worse.
Yeah.
So I would get clarity if you want to dig on it. Just for the fun of it, I would dig on that, Whitney. Get clarity on what is waiting. At what point will you be ready to step back in?
Yeah. So there's the question. At what point would you be ready? The day after the election, or?
No, I think after inauguration, I would wait until then. So really, I'm just gonna sit and stay put until probably March.
Okay, now I'm going to give you another hint. This is the same situation we face every year when a seller says, I want to wait until after the holidays.
Well, I was going to dig into motivation, right? Like now you're kicking the can way down the road where why are you selling to begin with?
You can, but I want you to recognize that would be a good thing to do, and that would be following the model, go to motivation. However, let's just step back and not worry about the initial conversation. Again, I want to teach you how to think.
Yeah.
There's only a few major objections out there, and a lot of them are it's just different timing. If I want to wait, okay, that's a common one. I want to wait until spring. I want to wait until after the Christmas. I want to wait until after the election. All of them have some similarities. So what are the similarities?
Well, they're in the unknown, right? Or they have a hard reason why they're moving at a certain time.
Yeah, so let me give you another little hint. So, so Madeline, let me ask you this. Do you think that there are a lot of sellers in the same position wanting to wait until after the election and the inauguration?
It's possible.
And do you think there's still buyers out there that want to buy?
Right now?
Yeah,
No, that's just it. I think because of the way the economy is, buyers are very, on and off. They're not serious. And I just don't want to waste my time.
I got
And I
that.
think it's opposite of that, right? Right now specifically this is the best time because you don't have as much competition and
Yeah, but
anybody looking
right.
to buy.
You're right. That's where I'm going. That's what I want you to recognize. Anytime somebody wants to wait, there are other people that want to wait. However, this is what you use in a holiday. If a buyer was wanting to buy during the holidays, if a buyer was wanting to buy during this time between the election and the inauguration, do you think they're motivated?
Mm-hmm. They are.
Well,
But
yeah,
I think
Go ahead.
specifically to what I'm seeing the pattern is when I get that objection is that in their mind, they've told themselves a narrative that if they wait and the economy gets better, they're going to get more for their house. So they're rather let a few months go by.
Hang on. You guys know this pattern. I want you to recognize it right away. If they're waiting to get more for their house, what's the automatic go-to?
They're gonna have to pay more for their.
Yeah, Dr. Lauren, you can't use earbuds out there in the
Can you hear me now?
they're
gonna
gonna
pay for more than their
for
house.
the house they're gonna buy.
Okay. And what if they're not buying?
Okay, well, that's another discussion. So the issue is that, okay, I just want everyone to understand, if someone wants to wait, most likely other people want to wait for the same big reason, Christmas, spring, the election. Then if somebody wants to buy in that period, they probably are super motivated. So my question is, I understand this would be Matt's comment, it might be the best thing for you to do is to wait. However, I just wanted you to know you might be hopping from the frying pan to the fire. Well, what do you mean? Well, and I'd go through that. So let's just say you were selling, you weren't buying something. I'm not even going down that road. So I guess it could be possible that your best buying opportunity for a buyer for your home would be now, because there's unknown. And if a buyer is buying in an unknown market, there's not as many homes to choose from, and the buyer's uber motivated. So I'm just saying, you know what does it hurt?
Denny, from an expired standpoint, like where she's coming from, because of course there's always people that want to wait and blah, blah, blah. Because I don't have tons and tons of patience. So if somebody wants to wait, that I automatically go to, like, say you were to provide these solutions and reasons and blah, blah, blah. And they're still set on, oh, well, unknown, wait. Then I'm like, cool, you probably don't want to sell. Not that I'm gonna say that, but maybe I would. Like, hey, Mr. Expired, I get it. You want to wait, but do you know you're in a great position? And if you wait, you're going to pay more for your next place if that's what they choose to do. Where
And
then
it
you're
sounds
kind
like
of
there's a
testing
lot
the
of-
water.
It
right?
sounds to me like that whole approach is a lot of telling, and you want to get a list. and you're
Well, I
not
wouldn't talk like that to a client. but
Okay,
for the
well,
sake
look
of
what
this
I'm saying.
exercise.
Are you focused on their needs or on your needs?
Well, that's why I say you go to the motivation, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's not about me, but if they don't actually have a real need or a want, do you really want to sell? You expired for whatever reason, it didn't work. There's an opportunity now where, look, you already boxed up your house, your home expired, you actually do want to buy. And then when these solutions or whatever objections are handled in a way that makes sense, but they're still like, nope, we want to wait, then it's really not a you can help them now situation if you dive into the motivation and it's just not there, right?
Especially
True.
in their mind, they're already telling themselves, well, the reason why it expires is because it was already too high to begin with. So they never did a price drop.
Now,
So in
see,
their minds are thinking, go ahead.
so now you're going to the direction where I want you to go. Let's just assume they want to wait until after the election.
Right.
Let's just, that is a given. What would be your next angle to serve them?
The question would be, and what if it doesn't sell at this price next year?
Well, you're going to pain right away. However, that could be, you know, obviously that could be a question and then the direction it could go. I'm thinking about something else. If you can't get a date with a girl and she's only willing to go out on a double date with her best friend, best girlfriend, and whose boyfriend is a cage fighter, would you take the double date instead of no date?
Maybe yes.
So how does that translate?
The next best thing, right? I don't know.
Let's just say it's like Christy Brinkley, okay, or Farrah Fawcett. You know how old I am. So here's the issue. Well, how could you help them? And you hit the nail on the head, Natalie. They have a problem. What's their problem? It's expired. The market said no. So could you take them down? Okay, so let's just assume that's going to be best for you. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you weren't successful. Would it help you if we just had a conversation in a meeting? And I know you're going to wait till later, which is great. However, what would you like to be a little bit better prepared of, number one, why it didn't sell? So when the time comes, you feel comfortable to step in the market, you're armed with more information. Do you see how you're going to go back? Now that's the double date. That may not be the listing meeting, but that may be a meeting to get your foot in the door. What do you all think of that?
So if they reply, well, we're already talking, just tell me about it. Then what's the best way to approach that?
I think that's great. I think you should probably talk to a couple people. And here's why I think you should talk to me. And don't you think the more information, the better your decision?
No, right. And I'm open to talking to you, but we're already on the phone, so just tell me.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you everything because I haven't seen your home yet. So are you available this afternoon? Right. I have to be able to see your home.
Haven't seen your home. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the appointment.
Yeah,
Right.
go in for right.
Okay.
And I think the biggest hook's going to be is like, are you at all curious why? And I'm going to give you my favorite line. When someone uses it naturally, organically on one of my role plays calls, I'm going to give you two tickets to Greece. See, during the time you had it on the market, 18 homes in your price range sold. Are you at all curious why yours didn't? I think that's strong, you guys. But what do I know?
Well, that's a good one. Thank you, guys.
Ah, come on. All right, who's next? Come on. How come y'all like to play when John's here? You don't play when I'm here.
I'll play. I just don't have can you guys hear me?
Yeah, just the earbuds don't work.
Yeah, well, okay. I don't have a scenario per se, but something with the seller.
Here's one for you, Dr. Lauren.
Mhm.
Expired who became a FSBO and they overpriced their home by $450,000.
$450,000. Okay.
What's the price of the home though?
1.2 right now.
Oh, so that's about what, 30%?
No, right now is at 1.2 as a FSBO. He's been a FSBO now for about 2 months. Prior was 750 with an agent.
So they went up about 30%.
I see. Okay, so prior was 750 with an agent. He went up 1.2. Okay.
All right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, Dr. Warren.
Wait. So who am I talking? Who am I doing it with? And this is a listing appointment, right? I'm sitting down trying to get a listing. Okay, great.
Do it with
Here's
Natalie.
what
She
I'm
has all the
trying to
info.
get a listing appointment.
Okay, going for trying to get the listing appointment. Okay. Like, so we're on the phone. We're on the phone.
I'll do it with you.
Yeah, Susan, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Ring.
Hello.
Hello, I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner?
This is she.
Wonderful. Hi. My name is Dr. Lauren Goodwin, neighborhood realtor. And the reason that I'm calling is for 2 reasons. One, to see if you are working with agents that are bringing you buyers. Are you?
Of course.
Wonderful. And the second reason is I've seen that you had your home on the market now for a little while, and it was previously listed with another agent. And so I was just curious, what's got you selling this home on your own now?
Oh, yeah, I think the previous agent priced my home too low.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that.
No, that's exactly what it is. She priced it too low, and I'm selling it.
Okay. Too low. I see here that it was previously listed at 750. You have it listed at 1.2. So curious, when you originally signed that contract with your agent, how did you get to that $750,000?
She told me she recommends 750 or in that range area.
And you were comfortable with that?
No, that's why we took it off the market, and I'm doing it on my own.
Okay. And so 1.2, what's important to you about that number?
Oh, money, my profit.
Okay. Can you tell me profit meaning what?
I'm on net a lot more.
Okay. And remind me again, why is it that you are selling?
We're gonna move. If I get this price, we're gonna move.
You're going to move if you get this price. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And what happens if you don't get this price?
I'm just gonna stay.
So you're at 2 minutes now.
Okay.
So
I thought that,
One thing
Okay.
about showings. How many showings were there at 750?
well, okay, well, I would ask, okay, that would be big, but I would be curious too. So how long, all right, let's tag team this. Okay, go Whit, Whit, you go ask the question. We'll go around. Everyone can ask a question. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so you were originally listed at 750. You're obviously priced higher now, but how many showings were there at 750?
Oh yeah, it was blowing up. I was getting a lot of showings,
And no offers?
no offers.
Okay,
So I figured that she didn't do her job.
so I'm going to ask a question. Well, you asked if there was any offers. I mean, why do you think it didn't sell if it was undervalued?
I don't know, because I think it would have sold, but I just have to take it off the market because the agent didn't represent me the way that it should be, meaning she's pushing me to accept an offer or show it listed at 750. I feel that I could get more. The house down the road was asking for $1 million.
So I'll ask the second question and get ready, whoever wants to go next. Second question is going to be, are you getting the same level of activity right now at 1.3?
I love that question. No,
Who's next?
I'm getting a lot of agents.
Hey,
so what does
Susan.
that tell you?
Wait, it's my
Oh,
turn. We were going. You can go, Dr. Lauren. Cool. I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, just after Denny, so what does that tell you?
I'm getting a lot of agents calling me. They say that it's just the marketing and how I'm gonna put it on the MLS. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm getting a lot of you guys calling me.
Okay, so here's my question. Hey, Susan, help me understand how you derived this price.
The house down the road sold it for $1 million. So I think I have a
Okay.
bigger lot. My kitchen is completely professional, stainless, Wolf's kitchen, Sub-Zero appliances.
Got it. All right. Next question.
How long ago did it sell?
Come again?
How long ago? How long ago did that house sell for $1 million?
Oh, probably 3 months ago.
Okay.
Susan, if you sold this home, where are you planning to move to?
Probably gonna buy a home in Florida.
Have you gone out there to look at something already?
Yeah, I just know my general area where I'm gonna be.
Okay, and may I ask why you're moving to Florida?
Oh, I'm just gonna pack up, get my proceeds and retire.
Okay, so you're retiring. Is
All
that
right,
correct?
questions on motivation. Who's next? Come on, David, you want to play?
Hey, Susan, if
So
you were to your home again, would you pay $1.2 million?
If I were to buy the same home,
Yeah.
love that question. No, because I don't think I could afford it. That was a good question, by the way. It makes me
Okay.
think.
For a second, if you assume that you could afford it, would you buy it at $1.2 million? Same home which was listed at 750 earlier. I mean, the question I'm trying to ask is,
750.
we would think out loud what has changed, right? So what has changed from then to now? Did you upgrade the home? Did you put some more room? Did you add some square footage? What did you change after that?
The home
Jay,
that
Jay,
was
I think
sold.
oh, I was like, I think Jay, I think that one question is solid. I don't think you even have to say anything else. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
add anything to that.
Yeah, I actually like the
Say
question, Jay.
less.
That was,
Say-
yeah, that was the best one.
So what was the question you liked?
Would you buy your home for $1.2 million or whatever it was?
Yeah, yeah. If you were to buy your home again, would you pay 1.2 million? I thought that was like, say that and nothing else. I think that was great.
So here's my next question is this. Okay, so you know what? You might absolutely be right. When you originally listed with that agent, that she may have given you or he may have given you bad representation. That may have been the wrong number. And however, here's my question. You had a lot of activity and now you're having none. Do you think it's possible that although that was the wrong number, that you might be at the wrong number on the other side of the equation?
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good statement.
So I guess my point is, would you like an evaluation and a discussion about it?
The thing with this particular person, he gave up on realtors. He had the house listed with a previous realtor before. So he's been trying to sell it for the past 4 years. Different realtors. So I don't know. And I keep asking for the motivation, and he just keeps saying that the situation has changed in his household.
Matt Sharp has a saying, are you suspect or are you prospect?
Yeah.
What do you think this guy is?
So I don't think he's not a true seller at all. So you could pretty much say that you get to keep the house
Hmm.
Yeah.
and walk away. Because otherwise you're gonna spend money on, stuff.
Congratulations, Mr. Seller. You are the buyer you are the only buyer of your house.
All right, next we got that ain't gonna sell. So who's next? I see a couple hands, but I don't know if they're left over.
I see a good one with, do you have a problem signing a 30-day listing? If we don't get you the results you want, then continue to do whatever the hell you're doing.
Wait a minute,
Like-
you're gonna get a 30-day listing on an overpriced home that's been on the market for 4 years.
Yeah.
I would
Um,
do it.
No, but meaning
mean-
if to really drive it home, like how motivated are you? Hey, are you willing to listen to what I have to say? If I can get you buyers within 30 days, is that something you'd consider?
Yeah, but
But you have to follow what the strategy is, right? Like,
yeah, but that's like you telling me I could have hair like Brad Pitt. You can't do that.
well, but we can try.
No, you
Yeah, but
can't.
you're taking it.
You don't have the patience for that. David, you had a comment.
No, I wouldn't take a
Wouldn't-
1-2.
I had a comment as well. David, go ahead.
Wouldn't the market time asking the seller, what does he think the market's done in the last 4 years? Is in his favor or not in his favor? A good question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it would be a good, that's always a good question. However, there are sellers out there that are just, they're stuck on a number for whatever reason.
I forgot to mention a key point, and I'm just realizing this. He built the house himself.
Okay.
So maybe there's emotional attachment to it.
Well, I tell you what really does it a lot of times. It's the emotional attachment, but I just really, this is a quick story that we're going to you, Jay. My grandfather, before he died, had a property that he wanted to sell, and he was convinced in his memory that somebody offered him a number. He never had it in writing. Somebody probably drove by, maybe drunk, who knows what, and said, "I'll give you 130,000 for that house." And for whatever reason, that stuck in the mind. Or actually, and when he passed away, it was my grandmother that said didn't want to accept a less number than that, because that would be almost disrespecting her late husband. I mean, sometimes there's kind of crazy things like that. Jay, what's your scenario?
I just had a quick comment on this one. Susan, you can tell back the seller that I would create a FOMO for the buyers who came in, fear of missing out. Would you consider getting an appraisal done before we put it on the market for you?
That's interesting.
It's not a terrible idea.
Well, let me just say this though. Appraisal, you can live and die by those because use that very carefully. So you wouldn't do an appraisal. Has anyone ever done an appraisal in a changing market where the appraisal came in higher than what a buyer will pay? Now you basically are in a corner.
That's right.
And you
Now,
just
in
came
this
for
particular
an
case-
opinion.
In this particular case where he's, 30% higher probably than market value, it probably would be a good question, Jay, but I just want you to know, it's kind of like, doing your valuations on a square foot basis. That's like kids playing with sharp objects. So Dr. Lauren, you got your hand up. Is that just because you had it up from before?
Yeah, that's a leftover.
Leftover. Okay, come on, man. We got 10 minutes. Stump me. Stump the host.
Dump
Go
the
back
host.
to the election. Let's play the election game.
All right. Who am I talking
I don't
to?
want to be it. I just want to listen to somebody.
I'll be the seller. I'll be the seller. Wait, is it a seller or is it a
Okay.
buyer?
I'll be the buyer. No,
Yeah, there
not
you
the
go.
buyer. I'll be the agent. You gonna resist?
I think she wanted to hear me.
No, Denny. No, we're stumping Denny. We're stumping Denny.
All right.
How about
So,
buyer? Yeah, do a buyer. I'm doing an open house and I can already tell I'm gonna hear something.
I'll be the buyer. I'll be the buyer.
All right, Dr. Lawrence, so you're out looking at houses today. At some point in time, I'd say, well, are you ready? Are ready for me to help you look at a home for your family?
Not quite yet. We're gonna wait till after the election to actually buy. Right now, we're just getting used to the inventory or used to the market.
Okay, and right now, let me ask you, do you own currently or do you rent?
Currently we own.
Okay. And so waiting until the election, is there any other reason that you would be wanting to put off a new home?
No, we just kind of want to see what the climate's like afterwards.
So will you be selling your house in order to buy your next house?
We don't have to.
You don't have to, but what would you prefer?
We're not sure yet, actually, because we're not sure if we're going to keep it as an investment. So we're not sure yet.
Okay. And when you say you want to wait until after the election, is that a day after? Is it a point in time after? When will you know it's safe to go in the water, John?
I think, we'll probably be pretty comfortable doing it February after the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl is over, I think we'll be pretty comfortable. We'll see how everything's laid out.
Oh, sounds like you got a lot of money bet on the game, huh?
Well, I'm a big football fan, so we got a lot of activities going on then. So
Yeah, well, the problem is you probably are rooting for the Jets. All right, so let me ask you this. There's a lot of people between now and then, we may run into a home that has a very motivated seller. Kind of like when you go in the grocery store, you buy one, get one free. If we ran into that, would that change your mind?
a motivated seller? I don't know. We're not sure.
So if there was a seller in the area you want, in the Longwood area, and they were wanting to sell, and it was like, below market value, and I know you want to wait until the Super Bowl, but you would at least be enticed to consider it.
Yeah.
Now, do you see where I'm going? I'm trying to be within 2 minutes. I'm going, if I can't get the date, I'm going for the double date. Meaning, and I baited her with an unbelievable buy. So if the buyer wants to wait, one of the ways to tempt them, I'm really not ready to get back into a relationship. I just got out of a bad relationship. Well, if Jennifer Aniston called you, would you go out with her? Well, okay, I might think about it. So what do you, I mean, you do not like my examples. I know you're like looking at me, like my kids look at me, Dad, you're not even funny. So what do you think of that? I mean, I'm If a buyer would say, well, yeah, I guess if the deal were good enough, I would consider it.
Yep.
What does that suggest?
That suggests they're real.
Well, it suggests more than that.
I mean, it suggests, I mean, honestly, on the receiving end of it, it made me think, I'm like, why, it almost made me think like, why would I ever pass that up?
Right. Why would you wait?
Curious.
Why would I wait? Right. So, it opens the door definitely for you, Whitney, to have that conversation during the open house and use that, because I literally felt myself being like, yeah, I would take it. I would consider it.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah. What's your follow-up to that?
Well, this is what it means. They can be bought.
Yeah.
So what are the next questions, Denny, where you're like, oh, cool. Like if I literally say that and they're like, yeah, that sounds good.
Well, great. Well, we're meeting in an open house. So then here's the thing I want to do is that, listen, you can't win in a market unless you're in it. So why don't we keep into contact? Let me have, if we haven't met yet, I want to meet. I'd like to see your home, maybe meet in your home if it's possible, and get a plan together. So I know what you're looking for. And then we have some paperwork that are required paperwork we have to go over. And then I will keep an eye out for you. In the meantime, you can watch your football games on Sunday. And if I run into something that might be interesting, I'll let you know. That'd be okay. So I'm closing for the appointment and I'm looking for the double date until they're ready. What have I done? I talked about some paperwork. I'm going to talk about my agency. That's how I'm going to work into the relationship.
So can I add to that? I mean, like just to follow up at the open house, and I would ask, how long have you been looking for when you were indecisive of your timeline? I would say, how long have you been looking for? And you could give me like 6 months ago, a year ago. And I said, I would reply back, how is that going? How is that going? And how is that going for you?
Well, if they say they've been looking for a year, this is mastery. Now I want you to think high level. What does that suggest? That suggests something if you can put the pieces together.
If they've been looking for a year, it's not that they're waiting till after the election. They're waiting for nothing.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
That's right. So you know your assessment, you lose them.
So what's more important to you, waiting for the election or getting a good deal? Let's be honest. Tell me, what's more important?
Well, let's go back and what would be a great question around the point that Dr. Lauren just kind of brought up is like, okay, you've been looking for a year. Are you saying nothing came up that you liked, that you thought that got you ready to move forward? Or did you see anything that was tempting? I mean, what else would you ask? Because that's where I would go.
Yeah, then if she responds back, I want a perfect house, then we could jump in and say there is no such thing as a perfect house, even if you built your own house.
All right, so how would you say that? I want a perfect house. What would you say to me? You can't make a statement, you have to ask a question.
Well, what is the perfect house?
Oh, when it's just perfect.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
It's just perfect. It's just like
Okay, so if I could get your house similar to, like, let's say 80% of what you want, we could tweak it.
What's yours?
Okay.
Hey, Danny, how will you know when you find the perfect house?
There we go.
It's like putting in your foot into that little slipper, that fuzzy slipper. It just feels
Basically,
right.
you tell me what you're looking for, and then I'll say something along the lines of, well, Denny, if I find the house that A, B, C, D, E, will you be ready to move forward with me? Great, not go bump.
There's another question. I want to see if anyone's going to get the other direction I would go. There's a question you could ask, but wouldn't be a guaranteed slam dunk, but it would be pretty close.
What happens if you don't find the perfect house?
What?
My question would be, when was the last time you found anything that was perfect?
Yeah, Dr. Lauren, you and I are like channeling together right now. That's exactly what have you ever found a perfect house, or when's the last time you ever had something perfect? That may be a question I'd ask. Now, again, I'm not saying that's always going to open up the combination a lot, but sometimes I'll have fun. Hang on.
And then if you're with and if they're with their partner, you could say something like,
Yes.
other than your partner, when else have you found something perfect?
This is what I would say if they're with someone. Now I have a little bit of relationship and you already know me. I mean, I'm kind of like a wise guy, right? I come up with zingers and I mean, sometimes, most of the time you don't get them, but I like them anyway. So I would say, Louise, if you're with your husband and his name is, what's your husband's name?
Larry.
I was going to say Larry. Oh my gosh. You know, so listen, I would say this, well, Larry, I mean, it can happen. Clearly you found perfect, but she didn't. David, you're quiet. Come on, we got a minute or two. What do you want to talk about? We got a couple minutes. He's not talking. No one's talking. Did anybody learn something today? I think you're kind of frozen, David. You're mobile.
Hey, Denny.
Also,
Another
getting
question.
back to that overpriced house, here's one I heard. How long are you prepared to wait to get that price?
He's already waited 4 years.
Denny, can you give me another question when it was like, oh yeah, you can't win in the market if you aren't in it. And then to get them to the appointment to come into my office.
Well, I mean, okay, so you.
They're like, wow, yeah, good point. And would it be a value to sit down and kind of go over?
What I would do, particularly if they had another home in the area, I'd want to meet them in their home.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Oh, would it be a value if I come by and go over some strategies to get your home sold? And
No. I mean, we're going back to the buyer who was like waiting till after the election. Remember, I'm not going to ask for the date yet.
yeah, so tell me, I don't know, help.
I would say, listen, all right, so listen, if we get that one, buy one, get one free, or a home that's half off, you know, I'm being a little bit funny here, but things happen and people get great buys. Wouldn't you like to get a great buy? So what I'd like to do is spend some time with you and understand what you're looking for. So when that happens, or if it happens, I'll let you know about it. So would it be worth a 30-minute conversation? By the way, you have another home you think you might want to sell. I can actually pull some comparables on that and put you in a better position. That's what I would do. I'd say, listen, we're going to go out with a double date. You can bring your mom along, your dad along. We're going to go to the malt shop and have a malt, and we'll share a plate of spaghetti, just like Lady in the Tramp. I mean, I am corny. You got to admit, I am corny. You don't even laugh at my humor anymore. I have to get a new crowd. Anybody else learn something today? What did you learn,
Yes.
Susan? I was kind of hard on you, Susan. So I didn't mean, I hope you didn't feel like you have any bruises.
Oh, no, not at all. I actually needed this. I haven't been here in a while. But
Danny, wouldn't the person that had that $1.2 million house, wouldn't one of the goals to be to find out there had to have been a reason why they listed it? Like there's a reason that they listed it, and find out what that is. Like there has to be a motivation. The guy that listed that house, you know, he has to have a reason why he wants to be out of the house and focus on that page.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, David, before you popped on, and there was some motivation. But again, and that was before we learned he was been selling for 4 years. That's going to be kind of like that. There's a cartoon out there about a salesman or somebody who's pressing the doorbell or an elevator. I can't remember that. It's just a skeleton because they've been standing there like for so long. So he may expire before it actually sells. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Love you, meet a knuckle bump. Call me anytime.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.